This is going to be, how does each organization get people thinking about health, safety, and mobility? What organic organizing tools do you use, and what things take more structure and planning? So Mr. Bryan, lead it off.
So we keep circling back to health. We were talking about the economic stuff and the organizing. The structures that we have that get us thinking about health with bikes is organic. Bikes equal exercise. You get on a bike, you're going to get lots of exercise. It doesn't have to be strenuous. It doesn't have to be painful. It's something that's scalable. You can get, for instance, we actually had a number of church women that came into our shop, and they said that they wanted to do a Sunday ride. And first thing that they said is, well, we need bikes with big seats. And they actually named it the Big Booty Bike Ride. But what happened was that these women were coming out Sunday before church, and they were riding on our greenway. So part of the thing when we're doing the infrastructure in the community, we're actually creating spaces that are safe. You build the safe spaces, people come. They come on a bike, they're getting exercise. They're getting exercise, and like Jenna said, you start to reduce all the preventable diseases. This is really important in urban communities where people don't have access to good food. They don't have access to these type of products that are here that are in often cases not available or overpriced for people that are on limited budgets. And they typically are in geographical areas that for socioeconomic and political reasons keep them confined. So bikes are the liberation. They are that freedom that gives you the opportunity to get to that community garden, or that gives you the community to actually dream up the community garden. It's like, if you don't have a tool to get on the street and meet your neighbors, a bike and an organization like Red, Bike, and Green and Bikes for Life is the place. It's like Bike Church. I didn't wear the shirt today, but I got a shirt that says Bike Church. It's that place. When you get 2 or 3 people together, you got church going on. So when you got a ride, it's Bike Church. It actually brings in that energy where you go, oh, you know what? I've been riding and I feel so much better. That's contagious. The smiles on people's faces when we go down the streets, and I go on every single ride that I can of Jenna's and Tony's, and I also go on every single ride of all the other ones, like, you know, that are around. And I actually see people transform. I see them start in the beginning of the summer, and by the end of summer, their bodies actually look different. Their face, everything they do looks different. So I think that's the organic way that we tap in. The other way we do is part of the ways that we can get funded in these organizations is to actually learn how to articulate that we're doing obesity and diabetes prevention, that we're doing bike safety workshops, that we're actually creating an infrastructure that's better for our communities. And that's one of the things that for the community bike organizations, we're trying to figure out ways to come together to actually get more funding, because we have a huge impact on public health. But as each little individual shop, it's hard for us to reach up and grab sizable amounts of funding because they see it kind of as a hobby or a club or something like that. We have huge impact as cyclists. You guys as cyclists have huge impact. The way you vote on different measures about leaving 3 feet of space allows me with my child to ride with her to school. And the schools aren't doing it. The kids in schools are eating bad food and they're getting fat. So if I can ride with my child to school every day and it's 5 miles, guess what? I don't have to depend on the PE teacher to keep my child safe and healthy. So we have the power to actually transform our whole personal, community, and cultural health through things like cycling and walking and other forms of exercise.
I think Red, Bike, and Green is a good platform for people to think really creatively, and that's what I've seen over the past 3 years with Red, Bike, and Green is that our community is a gathering of artists and activists and people that work in medicine, people that work in the public sector. I mean, people just come with all these different ideas and they're just so excited about all of the things that you can do with something as simple as bike riding. And so I think there are a lot of different ways that we encourage people, be it intentionally or unintentionally, to get excited about health and safety and mobility. So I think that's the organic part, is that we kind of like to leave that part open for people to use Red, Bike, and Green as that platform and see where they want to go with that. The thing that I've noticed about Red, Bike, and Green, I don't know if anyone out here is familiar with the aesthetic of Red, Bike, and Green and the branding that we've used and have visited our website. And if you haven't, then you probably should, because it's pretty dope. It's redbikeandgreen.org. And so we created a logo, and it's a bunch of bicycles that make up the shape of the continent of Africa. And so that alone has stimulated so much creativity within the artistic community. In Oakland, we've had about 4 different art exhibits that have been that were coordinated by Red, Bike, and Green, and none of the core organizers, I don't know if we would call ourselves artists, but we definitely know how to do an art exhibit now. So I mean, I think that's an example of like the organic ways that we're getting the community to think more about the ways that we can communicate the message of health and green living and safety in the community. So that's really great. I'm interested to see what other things are going to come out of the community next year. And the more structured things, or the more structured tools that we use, I agree with Brian. It's just coming up with the resources to keep the movement going, just like all of the nuts and bolts and just the things that aren't so sexy about organizing in general. That requires some coordination and pushing people to doing things that they don't really want to do. I mean, even the bike rides themselves, like in order to keep the bike rides safe and to make sure that everyone feels comfortable, we have to assign roles, and we have to hold certain people accountable for the safety of the rest of the group. So that requires a little more structure than the more organic and fun side of things. So.
Well, organically, Bikes for Life, we've been able to do these rides, and it's a beautiful thing to be able to do these rides and bring out the community, especially on some of our rides. They're so diverse. You got some gold teeth, dreadlocks riding next to a white lady in her 50s. And when you see people riding a bike, you never see nobody with no mean face. They always got a smile on their face, you know what I mean? So it just brings out that, that vibe. And then, and our job is to be organizers, is to tap into that, organically. That's already there, the essence, people coming together, the diversity that we have in our community. Our bike shop has been able to break down a lot of barriers, because we are in West Oakland. There's a lot of gentrification going on. We got a lot of newer folks moving in, and this whole thing with gentrification and diversity is a blurry line sometimes. But with our shop, we able to break some of that down, because I think diversity is good. Being biracial myself, born right here in Haight-Ashbury, a child of the 60s, of the Haight-Ashbury, peace, love, it's all, I think that, diversity is a good thing, but I just think that gentrification is bad, because it pushes people out that's being in the community, and it brings in a different kind of income, and then folks that come in, they just kind of like look at the other people, the poor people, as the problem. And and that's not cool. So our shop is being able to break some of that down and get the true essence of people coming together, the human aspect of people coming together. So organically, just having a space where people could come together, organize rides, participate, ride with each other, get to know each other, it's been a beautiful thing. And that's what we want to do at Bikes for Life, and we want to be able to replicate that. And then we're in the process of doing more things in the community, because we feel that it's very important that the community have a space to come together. And we don't always need, and we can't always rely on government or and other aspects to do that for us. And by having a shop, tapping into something that everybody already liking and enjoying, that is the way that we're doing it in West Oakland at Bike.